For over 25 years, Astrowings Airlines soared through the skies with a sterling reputation. Founded by Helena Moreau, a former pilot with piercing blue eyes and a mind as sharp as a cockpit alarm, the airline was known for luxury, punctuality, and unmatched hospitality. Helena, now in her late 50s, wore her years like wings, gracefully, with strength etched into every line on her face. Helena built the airline from scratch, a rare feat in a male-dominated industry. She was respected, even revered. But lately, something had begun to tarnish AstraWings' golden image. Over the past year, complaints had started trickling in. Then came the letters, then the social media videos. Subtle but unmistakable. Multiple black passengers reported feeling unwelcome, ignored, or treated with disdain by certain flight attendants. Nothing overt, just a tray not offered, a drink request delayed, a cold glance. It was always the same. It must be a misunderstanding, the supervisors would say. But Helena knew better. When subtle bias flies high, it poisons the air. She had read every report. One in particular stuck with her. A young black woman, Denise, wrote, "I paid for first class." I smiled. I was polite. But I watched the attendants serve wine to everyone around me and pass me like I was invisible. Twice. I wasn't angry. I was heartbroken. Helena decided it was time to stop reading and start seeing. The next week she transformed herself. Gone were her signature blazers and gold pin. She tied her silvery hair into a messy bun, covered it with a wide-brimmed hat, and traded her heels for worn sneakers. A floral scarf hid the slight scar on her cheek, remnants of a cockpit door incident decades earlier. To the crew she was just another older woman flying coach. Flight AW227 from Chicago to Atlanta. A short flight, 2.5 hours. Just enough. Boarding began. Helena took her seat in row 22C aisle. Next to her was a young black father with his daughter, around 7, with braids and a pink backpack shaped like a unicorn. They were excited. "First plane ride," the father said proudly to another passenger. Then came the flight attendant. Her name tag read Kristen, early 30s, hair in a tight bun, posture crisp. Helena studied her like a hawk. Kristen smiled wide at a white couple in row 21, complimented a woman's handbag in row 20, then handed snacks to a pair of teenagers in row 23. When she reached Helena's row, her smile flickered. "Anything to drink?" she asked, her voice polite but clipped. The young father asked for apple juice for his daughter and ginger ale for himself. "We're out of apple juice," Kristen replied quickly, then turned without waiting for a second choice. Helena frowned. Moments later, she saw Kristen hand a cup of apple juice to the white child in row 20. Strike one. Later, a passenger buzzed for assistance. It was the same father. He asked politely for an extra blanket. Kristen returned 10 minutes later, empty-handed. "They're all gone," she said curtly. But Helena had seen the storage cart 5 minutes earlier, blankets still stacked inside. She glanced across the aisle. A white woman had just received one. Strike two. It was in the tiny moments. Delayed eye contact. Forced smiles. A hint of disdain. Helena watched in silence, heart heavy, stomach tight. She wrote everything in a small notepad tucked inside her sweater sleeve. When the plane landed, Kristen smiled at each passenger disembarking. She offered mints to a few. When the black father passed, she looked away, busying herself with adjusting a tray. At the terminal, Helena pulled off her scarf and hat, revealing herself. She waited at the exit, where Kristen was saying goodbye to passengers. "Excuse me, Kristen," she said with calm authority. Kristen turned, eyebrows rising slightly in confusion. "Yes, ma'am?" Helena extended her hand. "Helena Moreau, CEO of Astrowings." Kristen went pale. "I was in 22C. Kristen opened her mouth, but Helena raised a hand. "I saw everything." Behind them, the father and daughter were walking away, the little girl's unicorn backpack bouncing. Helena's voice softened, but her tone was steel. You've forgotten why we fly, Kristen. It's not just about service. It's about dignity. That man paid the same fare as everyone else. His daughter deserved the same apple juice. He deserved the same warmth. And you failed him. Kristen's eyes welled up. I didn't mean. Helena didn't blink. Intent doesn't heal wounds. Impact does. Kristen stood frozen, the terminal's buzz fading around her. Passengers streamed past, oblivious to the quiet reckoning unfolding by the gate. Helena leaned in slightly, her voice low but unwavering. You wear this uniform not just to serve drinks, Kristen, but to serve fairness. To treat every soul at 30,000 feet like they matter. If that's too much for you, this may not be your sky to fly. With that, she turned and walked away, her steps steady, leaving Kristen rooted to the spot. Face flushed, eyes wide as if turbulence had finally hit home. Back at headquarters, Helena called an emergency meeting. She played surveillance footage from the flight. She read from her notes. She read Denise's letter again. Then she announced a new training initiative, Equity in the Air, mandatory for all crew. It focused on unconscious bias, empathy, and active inclusion. No tick boxes. No corporate fluff. 3 attendants were quietly let go over the next month. Not as punishment, but because Helena believed in accountability. And then she did something else. She found Denise, the woman who wrote the letter. She invited her to fly first class on Astrowings' newest jet, this time with Helena seated beside her. They toasted with apple juice and ginger ale. In the sky, somewhere over the Midwest, Helena looked out the window. It's easy to think we're above it all when we fly, she said quietly. Denise smiled. But sometimes the higher you go, the clearer things become. They clinked their glasses. And for once, Helena wasn't looking down at her airline. She was looking forward. Some lessons can't be taught from a boardroom. They must be witnessed in silence, in the small injustices that echo louder than words. Helena Moreau didn't just expose bias on a flight. She reminded us that leadership means standing up, even when it's uncomfortable, especially when no one's watching. Because equality doesn't begin at the gate. It starts in the heart. This story moved you, share it. Start the conversation. Because sometimes real change takes off when one person chooses to see what others ignore. Would you treat everyone the same at 30,000 feet? Let us know in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe for more powerful true-to-life stories that challenge how we see the world.